Hey everyone, welcome back to Week Ahead Astrology Breakdown. I'm Matthew Oliver with Stillwater Alchemy, and this episode is the 102nd episode of the Week Ahead Astrology Breakdown. I was thinking about this the other day, and for some reason I thought it'd only been a year, but then I was like, wait, what is time? And I started these after the Virgo new moon in 2021, which in 2021, the Virgo new moon was at the beginning of September. So I know many of you have been around since the very beginning when we were still Stillwater Tarot. So I want to thank you all so much for being here, for joining me each week. And with that, I am going to slightly change these breakdowns. Nothing crazy, nothing wild. We just elevate, we expand, we evolve, we do all the good things. So moving forward, what I want to do is make these breakdown videos a 3-act structure. So act 1 will be announcements, they will be offerings, they will be stories, because what a lot of you have been telling me is that you like when I discuss how these transits manifest in real life, whether it be in my own life, in my client's life, or just fun synchronicities that occur, which also, of course, helps to understand the astrology on a greater scope. So that'll be Act 1. Act 2 will be our general breakdown, going through the transits of each day of the week. And then Act 3 will be any kind of musings I have. Also, if I pose a question on my social media, the response is just so you can kind of see a collective mindset of how they're going through certain transits or certain lunations. And then, of course, our astrology question of the week. So for the announcements this week, I have a new offering called One Question. Yes, I know it's a very ingenious one question with Matthew Oliver, but this ties into the electional astrology that I already do with clients. But this one question can be whatever you want it to be in regards to the astrology. So let's say you feel like love is coming. And so your question would be, what does my love life look over the next 2 to 3 months? I feel like something or someone is coming in. How can I use the transits in my chart to best prepare me for what's coming on? Or perhaps you are thinking of leaving your job to pursue a different job. So you're saying, I've been in my current job for 10 years. I have been working with higher management roles, but now I feel like I'm calling in even more money, more power. How are the transits looking to help me accomplish that? And then, of course, if you want to use it for electional astrology and wanting to know an exact time when maybe you should be submitting applications for your job, that all falls into this one question category. So for the rest of August, it's on a promotional rate. So that rate is already available as is on my website. So you can click the link below and get access to that. And if you want an opportunity to win a free question, any question you'd like, comment below on what you've gained over the past couple of years, whether you have been here from the beginning or if you joined recently for these week ahead astrology breakdowns. Has it helped you gain more focus, more clarity, accountability? Is this part of your Monday ritual? Does it help you feel like you're understanding the planets better? Have you had fun stories that you'd like to share? Anything that is a comment, I will enter it in to a draw to win your own response. And be sure to check in next week because I will reveal the winner, and then that winner can just contact me via email and we can set up the session. Please note for these one questions, it's going to be pre-recorded, so they're not live. I will be sending a PDF after you purchase the one question. There will be very specific questions, so I make sure I have all your details. You will send that back to me. I will then film the video for approximately 15 minutes, give or take a few minutes, and then you will receive the video file and the audio file for your records, okay? And of course, if you want to ask me many questions, my August coaching special is still in effect. So there are multiple coaching and mentorship packages available until the end of August. If you are interested, shoot me an email and I'll put all the links for everything that you need in the description of this video, okay? Now, I have a very, very, very Venus retrograde story. So I talked about in the Leo New Moon workshop that there was a Versace sample sale happening here in Vancouver. So for those of you who know me, know that I love that brand. So I took a friend of mine here in Vancouver who is a Libra. We're like this. I love Libras who love beauty and style and are just all around amazing. So we go to this sample sale and it's kind of wild. Like I've never been to a sample sale where there's just like tables and tables of stuff everywhere. It's huge. And why this is a Venus retrograde is because back in 2021, I remember when I had moved to my new condo in Toronto, there was a specific fuchsia Versace sweater that I had pinned in my wish list. It was gorgeous. There was like a rainbow-esque Greca pattern going up the side. And I was going to see if it was going to go on sale. I mean, I had moved in the summer of 2021. So it's like, I don't need that yet per se. And then it just never went on sale. And then it was gone from the website. I was like, okay, not a big deal. And one of the very first things I saw in this sample sale was that exact fuchsia sweater. And of course, Venus's colors, pink and green. So I just like all this energy came back of just like remembering when I wanted that sweater, looking at this price. I saved over $1,000 on this sweater. So just think about this. And this is applicable to everyone. That's why I'm sharing this story, is that sometimes we want something in the moment, whether it's a job, a raise, a partner, an opportunity, whatever that is. And we're like, why aren't we getting it? Why isn't this working out the way we intended? And sometimes it takes years for the perfect moment when there's no resistance, when it gets to be easy, when maybe you're in a position to hold that energy or receive that energy even more, where it just will perfectly land on your lap. And $1,000 is a lot of money that I saved. I also didn't have to pack up and move that fuchsia sweater when I went from Toronto to Vancouver, and sweaters take up a lot of space. If you have ever moved, you know. And $1,000, so we're talking about 1,000 units of energy that I was just gifted for free from the universe. Think about that. When you want something and it isn't working out for whatever reason, imagine that the universe is literally just preparing something that much better, that much more aligned, that much easier to receive what you want. And that is the blessings of a retrograde. So we're talking about Venus and her themes around beauty, love, creativity, and pleasure. Looking back on our life at certain times when maybe we didn't get what we wanted, was that actually a blessing? Or maybe we not equipped to handle it? These are things that when you have certain experiences during a retrograde, whether it be Mercury, Venus, Mars, any of the planets, it truly doesn't matter. You see the blessings. And I often find this with Venus retrogrades and sometimes Mercury as well. If there's something that I want in terms of a sale or an item that I need and it doesn't work out or I have to return it, something else comes along that's better, that's cheaper, that's going to work out for me more. So that's just more so from a economical or shopping aspect with Venus, and that you get better deals or your style is changing. So what you thought you once wanted, now you're like, oh, I actually want this instead. And it's going to be a better use of your time, energy, money. And that's also conducive to friends, to lovers, where maybe you're like, I dodged a massive bullet by not dating that person because now I'm in a position where in life where this is the type of person that I want to date or befriend or to work for or work with, etc. So let me know if that tracks in terms of any of you having experienced Venus retrograde musings or stories or victories such as that. And let us commence Act 2, the breakdown. So, I mean, I take notes every week and I always channel what's going through, and pretty much every single day this week, there's a powerful shift or a transit coming to an end or something starting. So remember that given that we just had the Leo new moon last week, the moon is gaining light. She's gaining energy as she approaches the full moon in Pisces, which will happen next week. So on Monday, we have the moon in Libra making that sextile to the sun and the square to Pluto retrograde. So here's the thing, whenever the moon is making a square or opposition to Pluto, there's usually some kind of power dynamics or us feeling emotionally challenged. And with this sextile to the sun, I don't want you to go back into patterns that are like easy or comfortable. If there's something that's challenging or hard, especially if it's in a position where you're made to feel uncomfortable and you don't want to upset someone or something, this is your opportunity to stand in your power, the sun in Leo, and say, no, this is what I've always wanted. This is what I desire. This is what I crave. I'm going to use the moon in Libra, your words, your voice, your decorum, charm, whatever you must, to overcome this either imbalance of power, or it could all be in the mind as well. This could be something that isn't even real, that you're stressing about, allowing yourself to be out of equilibrium when you can just lean on the sextile to the sun here to guide you, to allow you to see a clearer path, to stay in your power and to not deviate. What I also wrote is starting something new versus relying on old programming. This is something I want you to be aware of. If since the Leo new moon, are you progressing forward or are you reverting back out of fear? Because that can also be a theme of Pluto, right? Is the death and rebirth, and sometimes the fear that holds us. And also, Mercury is slowing down as it's going to be stationing retrograde on the 23rd. So this trine that we have doesn't actually go exact between Mercury and Uranus. It gets close, but it doesn't ever actually go exact. And that's the same thing also with Mercury making that conjunction with Mars. It got close, but it didn't actually hit the exact aspect. So what I'm thinking here as well with Mercury in aspect or in close aspect to Mars and Uranus, be careful of your thoughts in relation to starting something new that's aligned versus relying on old conditioning. And relying on what you know isn't bad. However, if you're feeling called to push, to grow, to expand, to go towards something that's more aligned, that's the energy that I'm talking about on Monday, that you may feel like you're balancing moon in Libra, where to go and how to exert your energy. Okay. Now, Tuesday, the moon is in Scorpio. She's making that opposition to Jupiter. She's making a square to Venus retrograde, and she's making a trine to Saturn retrograde. This is also the final day of Leo season, and the moon is about to make her first quarter moon phase activation. So there's a lot going on. So let's break this down a little bit. What I have written down here for Tuesday is you're richer than you think. Like, I think that's Scotiabank's motto. You're more powerful than you think. And that goes what we just came off of on Monday, right? When you're deciding what you want to do and how to exert your energy and your power. This moon opposing Pluto can be very, very strong. It could be a lot of emotions. It can be gratitude. It can be seeking stability, loyalty, commitment, and opportunity. The square to Venus can be discord or disagreement or friction with being seen, identity, who you are. So it's almost like if you have 1 foot where you currently are, 1 foot in the new paradigm, the new timeline that you're creating, and you might be feeling resistance. It's like, this is where I want to be, but I'm still experiencing things from my past or my current timeline. How do I bridge the gap? And of course, we have Saturn here in Pisces. So that discipline, that structure, maintaining the habits, the discipline, the boundaries that you've implemented so that you don't go back. So even if there is a moment of frustration, that isn't enough to deter you from what you know to be true, your dreams, the expansion, the stability, the feeling of what you're wanting for this new growth. That is the moon Pluto opposition, especially in fixed signs. So there's a lot of fixed activation, right? So we want to ensure that the discipline here when our emotions go awry, Saturn in Pisces, that we have a way to steady and ground ourselves. And Tuesday would be a good day to truly see how far you've come. One, from all of Leo season. Two, since beginning of July when Venus entered her pre-retrograde shadows. And since the Leo new moon that we had last week. These are really crucial and opportune moments to have that time to reflect so that you can go back and say, oh, I'm actually doing really good with these new habits, with these new boundaries. Even if today was a tough day, or maybe if I deviated a little bit, I'm still on the right track, which is going to open the mind or open the feeling of satisfaction from where you are and where you're going. All right. Remember, you're richer than you think, you're more powerful than you think. These would be good mantras, of course, if they resonate, to repeat on Tuesday. Now, Wednesday, a lot is going on. This is also just an interesting day because we're going into a very activated time. The sun is now in Virgo. So happy birthday to all of our Virgo angels who are watching and or who are with us. And Mercury is going to station retrograde later on this day. So it's almost like now we can also see here that there are 3 planets in the sign of Virgo up until Sunday of this week when Mars goes into Libra, which we'll talk about in a moment. But I want you to look at your Virgo ruled house in your natal chart, because it's almost like the sun is now putting a spotlight on this Mercury Mars energy that's been there now for a couple of weeks. That's going to be amplified, but it also should give you purpose or passion or drive, or with Mercury stationing retrograde, things that you want to go back on and restructure, potentially around the mind, things that need editing, things that need cleaning up. This could also be around your gut health, because the intestines and the digestive system is ruled by Virgo. This could be your overall health. This could be work. This could be family. This could be whatever, of course, the house in your chart ruled by Virgo. But it is a good sense of let's get our act together and really get to the root cause of why things are not working internally, so that we can start moving things externally in whatever area of your life that you're working on at this point. We also have the moon opposing Uranus. So this may be a day, and this kind of continues on to Thursday and Friday. So just be mindful of potentially not reacting, that you take things in. You are not volatile with your energy. You're not popping off on people, that you're taking time to process. And this would be actually a really good day for some energy work, some body work, some like therapy, talk therapy, journaling, just so that you're able to express all of this. I would honestly stay off social media Wednesday, especially Friday. We'll get to that in a moment. But this is going to be a time where there's going to be a lot shifting. And the more time you take to be still, the less likely it is that you're going to act impulsively with this moon Uranus opposition. And the reason why I was saying going inward, the healing modality, because we have the moon making a trine to Neptune. So all throughout Wednesday, even a little bit on Tuesday night, your dreams are likely to be activated, strong intuition, strong hunches. So when you're in that state of being very open in terms of your intuitive channel, energetically, spiritually, you don't need external noise from everyone else going on. So please limit what's going on. And also too, given that Wednesday, Mercury is stationing retrograde, whenever a planet is stationing, whether it's stationing retrograde or stationing direct, it's almost like it doesn't have energy. It's like if you're in transit at an airport without access to your phone or Wi-Fi, like no one has access to you and you're not in any city. So when a planet is in that kind of transitionary space, if you don't need to be active, if you don't need to be on your phone or computer, it's a good time to relax. Of course, if you still need work to be done, I understand. But if you can get important emails out Monday, that would be best. If it can wait until Thursday, that would be great. Don't try and force anything on Wednesday is what I'm saying. Go inward, diffuse anything that comes up, and there's no need to respond. This would be a good day to put all your notifications on silent or put your phone on airplane mode, even better. The one thing I will say to spin this, if you're in a position of leadership or healing or to be of support to other people, there is going to be a lot of fires to put out. Let's just say that, or potential to put out a lot of fires. So if you're feeling good, making your presence known, being a light in whatever space you are in will go a very long way, and people are definitely going to feel it. Now, Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, the moon is in Sagittarius. So that's one thing. It's interesting here because now with the sun in Virgo, it's in that opposition to Saturn, which is not bad. It's going to, like I said, it's going to encourage us to get our act together, to be more disciplined, to be more structured. With the moon here in Sagittarius, it's almost exactly a T square, except that the sun is at 1 degree, but very, very close. So when we have a T square, we like to look at the planet in the middle as kind of the foundation for this teeter-totter. And part of me, especially now with the moon in her first quarter phase, I would ask yourself, are you having fun? Are you integrating the lessons of Venus retrograde, that moon Venus trine? Are you maybe having too much fun where you need more of this Sun Saturn opposition to have more discipline? Are you not having any discipline, which is causing you to feel aimless or lost? These are things that may be coming up on Thursday. But if you're feeling tight or tense, this is going to help explain why. And now, of course, we have the Mercury retrograde as well. So having that first full day of Mercury retrograde, recalibrating our mind, restructuring how we act, how we think, how we do business, all these things are going to come up. And there's that meme that came out. It came out when I was in my first year of university. So 2009, it's kind of like those old school, like retro. And the guy, he's like, F this. He throws all the papers in the air and he's like, oh, wait, I still need all those. That kind of feels like this, where you might want to just throw everything out the window. But then upon second thought, Mercury retrograde, you're like, wait, I'm not going to burn the house down. I'm going to take a moment to breathe, maybe go for a walk, maybe have some fun, chat with a friend, and then I'll know where I need to put in some time. But be aware the rest of the week, it's likely going to be blatantly obvious where you need to put in the time, energy, and mastery, or to work with certain people to help get you on the right path. So don't neglect that call, that wake-up call, that very clear area where you can use some help and support moving forward. Friday. So Friday, we now have the moon making a square to Mercury retrograde and a square to Neptune, and coming off of that trine to Venus retrograde. So this almost just seems like there could be something that is triggering or activating or causing you to maybe not lose faith, but just be scattered energy. So Friday, I would highly recommend, if you don't have to be at work, or if you could take a half day, take this day off. This would be a perfect day to like play hooky, or to take a personal day, or just be in your own energy. Like we said on Wednesday, if you're in a position to be a healer, to hold space for others, I'm sure a lot of people could use that support. Or if, let's say, you're a business owner and you want to promote services, like let's say you have time on Friday and you want to get some same day appointments, you will probably be booked. People are probably feeling this on Wednesday and they're like, yes, this was a sign I need to book in. Or if you can offer comic relief for like any kind of content that's entertaining, that would go a long way on Friday. Or you might also be a benefit to just relax, take a personal day, watch your favorite TV show, watch your favorite content creators, comedic value on whatever platform. This would be a good day for that. Another thing here is my feelings fact? Is this going over the same story over and over again helping me, or do I just need time to come back to myself? This could also be where the lines are blurred. Remember, whenever we have a challenging aspect to Neptune, it can be throwing caution to the wind and going back Venus retrograde to something that may not feel the best. Or it can be, this is really confusing, I'm going to go back to a comfort of mine that is still in alignment with my boundaries that feels good. So maybe this is cooking your favorite childhood meal. Maybe this is going to your favorite spot in your neighborhood and just relaxing and taking that day off. So yes, maybe you might be overwhelmed that there's work to do or perceived work to do, but you're going to prioritize your own well-being. Take Friday to take care of you, okay? And Friday, for sure, you do not need to be on social media. I also feel like there could be crazy news stories that come out on Friday, or just like a lot of intense energy on social media. So you do not need to be on there. Mark it on your calendar. unplug, airplane mode, personal day. Please, this would be the best day to do so. Now, the good news is after we get out of that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the weekend is much better, much more conducive to grounding and clarity, given this moon sun trine. Also, like I said, there's a lot of transits. This is very Mercury retrograde already. I want to go back to Thursday. So amongst when the moon is in Sagittarius, we have this Mars Pluto trine, which is really important because this is a strong aspect in terms of power, structure, your work, and discipline leading to great results. So this can also be an energy Wednesday, Thursday, Friday as the moon finishes, pardon me, as Mars finishes its transit in Virgo, as making this trine to Pluto, that you're feeling stronger, more disciplined, like your mind is working for you, that all the effort that you've been putting in a certain area of your life is seeing massive results. And I would look to the houses ruled by Virgo and Capricorn to see specifically where that is. And bonus points if you have placements in late degrees of earth signs. So Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn, there just probably is going to be some type of power or autonomy that you are achieving in a earthly realm. So whether that's body, health, finances, something that you are moving, likely to be with either your work ethic, with your mind, or mindset. Okay, good. And that could also be challenging as well. So let's say you are advancing, that you got a huge promotion that's paying you more. Let's say you're leaving one job and entering a next, but then you're seeing certain friends or loved ones struggling. And then maybe you feel bad. You're like, oh, like I want to celebrate and this is really great, but I don't want to boast or showboat or make them feel bad. So it could be that energy where there's a certain part of your life that's going very well and you're feeling very powerful and very confident. But then there's an other part of your life that might be in that mutable madness with the moon in Sagittarius making a square to Mercury retrograde and Neptune. So that is also something to take into consideration, that two truths can be valid at the exact same time, that certain areas of your life are going to be going beautifully. So to lean on those, and the things that are maybe being challenged, understanding where you need to take a step back to release and to decompress. Okay. Going back to Saturday in the weekend, moon trine sun. And we also have that exact opposition here between the sun and Saturn. So it just seems like this is likely to be the time where not push comes to shove, but you're likely to overcome whatever you have been facing that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, where it's like, great, I now have either the right mindset or the structure or the tools to overcome this challenge or this perceived challenge or obstacle. And now I know what I need to do. Probably something around time, given that the moon is in Capricorn, and just being pragmatic and disciplined will go a very long way. This is also the final day of Mars being in Virgo. So on Sunday, Mars is now moved into Libra. It'll be here until October 12th. The thing to note here is now Mars is in a Venus-ruled sign, and Venus is currently retrograde. So there might be things that you're wrapping up between now and September 3rd with regards to Venusian themes, or you might have more passion in certain areas of your Libra-ruled house. There could also be, it's almost like the energy I'm getting of when you're studying for final exams, whether that was in high school or post-secondary, or if you've ever taken a test or preparing for an interview or a big presentation. It's like, okay, this is what I've learned. I know that I know I'm going to be successful. It's going to work out, but making sure that you're reevaluating things, putting your best foot forward, putting your best face forward, and that all these things will work and move as they should. Given that this is about a 6-week transit, 5-6 weeks, like I said, understanding which house in your chart is ruled by Libra will help you understand where this Martian energy is going to come through. So remember, with Mars, it is literally the symbol of a sword and a shield. So Mars equally attacks as it does defend. So there's that passion, that drive, that action, but there can also be conflict resolution, and how you handle having to be Martian in a Libra sign. So this can work both ways in terms of maybe if you're a bit more passive and things are really unjust and unfair, it might push you to be more vocal and be like, hey, this isn't fair. Maybe you didn't care before, but about certain issues, you're going to be more driven. Or it could be maybe you're going to relax it a little bit if you're maybe more combative or intense with Mars in a Venus ruled sign, in a sign where it doesn't have as strong of essential dignity. You're going to mellow out or not take things or not be as so driven or focused in certain areas. You're like, I just want to chill. I want to just be amicable, maybe spend more time focusing on love and relationships as opposed to other Martian themes in your life. So play around with that, see how you feel. Of course, it's going to affect everyone differently depending on which planets you have where, if you have strong Libra placements or not. Okay. Boom. So for the astrology question of the week and highlights, I just wanted to talk and read some of these comments that I got when I posted on my Instagram about how people are feeling with the Leo new moon, because this really helps to conceptualize what the collective is going through. So I was saying, what are you feeling during this Leo new moon? I'm literally surrounded with big egos, WTH. Unapologetically authentic, love, financial and career success, growth, spiritual growth. We also have acceptance of self and others, bravery, a new man, trust and vulnerability, love, I want to be in love again, golden abundance, super tired, emotional, physically cleansing, feeling empowered, rest, good food and self-love, slowing down and flowing more. And we've talked about this before in past videos that sometimes when you are a light worker, a healer, or are really in tune with your spiritual energetic practices, you get the downloads first so that you can integrate them and thus help to hold space for your community, for your loved ones, for your business, whatever that may be. So remember that no matter what the lunation is, the retrograde, the eclipse, everyone's chart is going to be configured differently. And thus, when you are working with any transit, you may hear certain people online talking about it in a certain light. Even myself with these transits, I'm just looking at it generally, but how it's going to affect your chart is going to be different. So for some on a new moon, even though the moon is starting a new cycle, they might feel tired or lethargic or like they're all over the place. But again, just going back to a more 3D structure, if your body was needing rest and you ignored that call to rest, when the moon is now going to enter that new moon phase, it's like, great, we need to get caught up on our rest here before we start creating, before we start growing, before we start producing any kind of new energy at all. It's kind of like when you get back from a holiday and maybe you partied a little bit too hard on the last couple of days, even though your body's like, well, let's just relax. Like we came on this holiday to relax. And like, well, no, when in Rome, And then when you get home, you're like, oh no, now I feel so exhausted. I need a trip to recover from my trip. But had you listened to your body to rest on your holiday, when you got back, you're probably going to feel rejuvenated. You're going to feel happy. You're going to have all these beautiful memories and mementos and stories to share. So this is just one thing I want to keep all of us accountable with, that this is one of the reasons why I do these breakdowns, is to help us understand the energies of the week, of each day, so you can plan accordingly and understand the astro weather that is going to be displayed. So that if you know that, for example, on Friday, that there's going to be a lot of power, confidence, and maybe a little bit of mutable energy flying every which direction, that you're going to go focus on you, that you're going to block out external noise, have more discipline, that you're not going to allow these boundaries to be blurred, moon square Neptune on Friday, so that you can be focused and disciplined on what needs to be done. And if you're feeling overwhelmed or that things aren't working, that you can take maybe a personal day, or you can take a half day, or you can know that you're going to enjoy your favorite movie and your favorite meal on Friday night to come back to you, and know that come Saturday, you'll have the answers and you'll know how to structure your time to move past that obstacle or to gain greater mastery over the weekend, right? This is how we do. Just like any new moon, full moon, retrograde, they always are working out in our favor. There's always going to be a beautiful Versace fuchsia sweater waiting for you in the timeline that you are moving towards. There's going to be thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of units of energy that are waiting to bless you at every turn. Okay. So that's what I want to structure in terms of people are just asking, like, what's going on with this new moon? I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. Generally, the consensus was from my end that there was this rejuvenation, or there was a lot going on, but in a good way. A lot of it seemed to be around work, to be honest, which makes sense because with a Leo new moon, especially with that energy around Venus, there was an energy around identity. And like we saw in the comments, there was an energy around love or self-love or needing to slow down before a new chapter can begin. So naturally, that's what I was saying as well with Leo season wrapping up this week. Look to the Leo ruled part of your natal chart to gain further insights from this Leo new moon, from the Venus retrograde, to understand what you are getting ready for, what you are integrating, what you are culminating as we move into Virgo season, to get everything structured, getting every I dotted, every T crossed, and even like we were talking about before with Mercury's retrograde, take things slow, especially Wednesday, Thursday. Back up your electronics. I literally just did everything on mine. I was like, we're good. We can put the time machine away for another few months and you'll be good to go. All right. So remember, anyone who comments on this video about what they've learned from these week ahead breakdowns will be entered in to win a free question, anything they'd like. If you have any stories to share, I'd love to hear them from this Leo new moon. And for all other information and resources that may be applicable, they're in the description of this video. Have a phenomenal week ahead, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.